is there some of also the way that the animal's raised, what they put in the animal, the antibiotics, the vaccinations, the is it grass fed or is it grain fed? Is there GMOs that are affecting? There's so many pieces to the puzzle that always come to mind for me as we go through these food studies.
Yeah, and there are some studies that have shown, like in Europe, for example, that showed basically the same results, where these were animals that were just free range cattle, for example. They didn't have all of the crap that we put in them here, and they saw similar results. So
Mm.
I'm not saying definitively that, those things don't make a difference. I'm sure they do make a difference, but there are some studies that have shown basically similar results with beef that has been what we would just call, free range grass fed. So again, all this stuff needs more studies, but when you look at accumulatively, there's massive data, massive piles of data from all over the world, and they all kind of point in the same direction. For me, it's like, well, okay, that's probably the direction I should be headed. For other people, they can choose whatever they want. But I'll go on. The fourth one is processed sugar, right? And there's no controversy around this at all in any of the diet camps today, right? Paleo agrees, keto agrees, carnivore agrees, vegan agrees, everybody agrees. Processed sugar is one of the most terrible things for your body. It leads to diabetes, heart disease, digestive issues like ulcerative colitis, IBS, all kinds of gut problems. It's shown to lower your immunity, showed to cause cognitive issues, shows to cause hormone imbalances, is shown to cause inflammation, and it's linked directly to cancer because one of the fuel sources of cancer is sugar. I'm not saying sugar causes cancer. I'm saying sugar thrives on cancer. That's its number one fuel source. Cancer thrives on sugar. That's fuel source. Yeah. I was like, wait a minute, I was a little dyslexic there.
Yeah.
There was a 2014 Canadian study that showed sugar can lead to spikes in reactive oxygen species and lead to inflammation. And we know chronic inflammation is a direct cause of cancer. Depression's been linked to high amounts of sugar in the diet because the brain has to adjust to these constant spikes of glucose levels. There was a 2018 study that found that sugar inhibited normal immune system response. So we know it's limiting the immune system response. We know it's essential for cancer. Sugar's been shown to raise levels of the G6P, the glucose 6 phosphate, and can actually weaken our heart. And the list goes on and on and on. But here's the important thing. This is why I said processed sugar, not just sugar. Most people today are just saying sugar when they're talking about it. All sugar is bad. And that's not true. That's absolutely not true. Processed sugar is the thing that has been tested. In every study that I've seen, they use some form of processed sugar. I've not seen any of these studies where they use the whole fruit to show that it causes these problems, right? And in fact, all the studies that look at fruit, healthy amount of fruit in the diet actually reduces all of these diseases. So people group fruit into the bucket of sugar and go, oh, I need to avoid all fruit. Not true. Fruit, you have to think of fruit as way more than sugar, way more than glucose and fructose. Fruit has vitamins, minerals, phytonutrients, fiber, which is essential for feeding the gut bacteria, amino acids, water. It's an incredible food that's essential for our brains, our hearts, our livers, helping actually fight against cancer. Some berries have been shown to be, because they're so high in antioxidants, they really help fight against cancer. So no, if you have cancer, concerned about cancer, I would not say go on an all fruit diet, but you don't need to be afraid of fruit and having, some blueberries, some blackberries, an apple, even higher quote unquote sugar types of vegetables in your diet, carrots, beets. These things are incredible for fighting against cancer and helping heal the gut because of the fiber and because of the diversity of the foods that you're bringing in. So it's the processed sugar. It's all the crap that they put in your Starbucks, that they put in your packaged foods, that they put in your drinks, in your sodas, in your kids' drinks and all that stuff. So if you get anything and it says, you know, any kind of sugar in there, I would highly consider you avoid it and just buy. If you have a sweet tooth, just eat an apple, eat an orange, eat a banana. Like it, the more you do that, the more your body adapts and loves the natural sweet things. And if you stop eating, ice cream and donuts and these kinds of things, even for like a few months, all of a sudden it's like you don't even crave those things anymore. That's what happened to me. I used to have like some kind of super sweet dessert after every meal. And it was usually like ice cream or, something like that. And then I went on, and then I started doing a lot of fasting and a lot of cleansing, and then went on a 100% all raw food diet for a year. And, came out of that, and it was like my body was so cleaned out that I just stopped craving super, super sweet things. If I have a craving for something sweet, it's going to be some honey, it's going to be some fruit, something like that. My kids are like, we'll buy ice cream, and it'll sit there for months because I'll have like a few spoonfuls like every couple of months. I just don't crave it anymore. My kids, on the other hand, can eat that whole thing in like one sitting, so we have to be like really careful not to buy ice cream.
I was gonna say, as I was a kid, I ate way too much junk
Yeah,
food. Didn't know any better, right? Growing
yeah,
up, my whole family was diabetic and have all ended up with cancer if they didn't make different choices now. So I can see those correlations even with my own family. Now, for myself, at some point, I just said, I'm done with it all. I'm done
yeah.
with all the junk food. And sure, you go through that period of time where fruit doesn't taste as sweet because you're used to all the chemicals that they're putting in there that make the foods that you're eating today more tasty, more spikes in your brain with the glutamates. So they're chemically designed to make you addicted. But then once you get past that and you go back to eating food that is real food, that's whole food, you bite into a pineapple and your face squinches. You're like, oh, it's so sweet now. And you're just like, oh my gosh, like the same response you would have got from the candy before, because now your body has no longer adapted to that and is now in more of its natural setting, and food just tastes better. And when, like you said, when you go and eat anything that you're not used to eating that is artificial and chemical and processed, you taste the chemicals. I can't, I used to love Rotel cheese dip, and now I can just smell plastic coming out of it, or some sort of nasty smell coming out of there because of the cheese that we used to use. And I'm just like, I can't do it. I can't do it. I loved it, but I can't do it.
Yep, it's so true. It's the more you clean up your body and your diet, like the more we crave the good healthy things. Like lately, I've been eating like a ton of just raw broccoli and carrots, and I'll dip it in this organic hummus, and it's amazing. Like it's amazing. As a kid, it's like I wouldn't touch vegetables, but now it's like I love them. And so anyway, it sounds restrictive, right? Oh, no meat and no sugar and no dairy. There are other things that you should avoid too, processed foods in general. But the question becomes, okay, then what can I eat? Which and what can you eat should be followed by the question, which foods are most beneficial to helping actually create a healthy gut environment, so your microflora, so your bacteria can thrive. And we know that a healthy gut is a gut that is incredibly diverse in microflora, in different kinds of bacteria, thousands of different kinds. If you have one kind, H. pylori, for example, that grows out of balance, over half the global population has H. pylori, right? And if it grows out of balance, it actually can cause cancer. But many people with H. pylori never get cancer because it doesn't grow out of balance. So if we swing too far extreme one way or the other and things start to grow out of balance, that's when we're going to have problems. If we eat things that are going to damage the intestinal lining in the gut and lead to leaky gut, it's going to cause problems, right? And these are the process. If we eat things that are causing too much inflammation, and the inflammation's damaging and allows the environment for leaky gut. So we want to eat things that are going to nourish our microflora, that's going to nourish our gut. And those are things that are really high in, here's the principles that I like to teach. Eat foods that are alive, that are colorful, that are high in fiber, that are high in nutrients, and high in diversity, right? So, diversity meaning we're eating different kinds of food. We're not only eating the same 10 things every day or every week. Alive, meaning they're full of vibrancy, they're grown organically, they are, they have lots of nutrients in them, amino acids, vitamins, phytonutrients, fiber, minerals, the things that we need to thrive. And these are things like legumes, all different kinds of beans, seeds, nuts, vegetables, the green leafy vegetables. These are amazing. The sulforaphane in the cruciferous vegetables are one of the most well-studied anti-cancer nutrients on the planet. And that's just one nutrient, sulforaphane, which is a phytonutrient, which is in all cruciferous vegetables, your broccoli, your bok choy, your cabbage, all these cruciferous vegetables, these green, dark leafy green, kale, super high in anti-cancer nutrients. Mushrooms are amazing. Mushrooms have incredible anti-cancer properties. Your turkey tails, your maitakes, your shiitakes, these medicinal mushrooms, reishi, ganoderma, and then your fruits and berries, right? So, a strong plant or a whole food plant-based diet, that's what I've been eating for over a decade. That's what my family's been eating. It healed a lot of issues. Most of the cancer patients we work with, they either go to a whole food, diverse plant-based diet or add a significant more amount of plant foods into their diet. So you call it maybe a plant strong diet. Dr. Terry Walls, who is in our Holistic Leadership Council, she is an incredible person who healed herself of MS, which they say is incurable, right? And once she realized, she was studying like, hey, what am I missing? I'm missing all these nutrients. Oh, instead of taking all these supplements where all these nutrients, she's a medical doctor. She was basically in a wheelchair. Her life was, she was losing everything. She was barely able to work anymore. She was basically, had so much pain, peripheral neuropathy, I think it was called, that like when it kicked in, it was just like, it was so much pain. If you could take pain from a level 1 to a level 10, she had like level 20 pain. It was so bad, most people kill themselves, literally commit suicide because living with that kind of pain is so bad. She finally realized, hey, if I take these nutrients from food, if I get all these nutrients from food, maybe I can actually do something. And she realized most of those nutrients come from the plant kingdom, right? They come from the vegetables, the fermented foods, the kimchi, the sauerkraut, and then, and she still eats, some animal products. She'll eat like liver and fish and things like that. But there's someone who healed herself on, I would call that a plant strong diet because that's where you're getting all your phytonutrients, a lot of your vitamins and minerals. Most of the cancer patients we work with and most of the cancer stories that we have shared are people on a whole food plant-based diet. And they get all meat and all dairy and all processed sugar out of their diet. And then they eat a really diverse, colorful, delicious assortment of fruits and berries and vegetables and greens and beans and onions, organic soy, which is incredible for cancer, incredible for balancing hormones, incredible for the digestive system. We could talk about that for hours. I know there's a lot of misinformation. I say soy and half the room goes, and the other half goes, oh yeah, that's great, because they understand, right? They've seen the science. I've dove into the science deeply with soy, and it's incredibly beneficial, not just for cancer, but for so many other things. So greens, beans, onions, mushrooms, seeds, that's Dr. Furman's kind of 5. I add in berries and nuts and herbs. If we're adding a lot more of that into our diet, we're getting diversity, we're getting all the nutrients that we need, the protein, the amino acids, the phytonutrients, and the fiber to help flourish a really robust microflora environment. And that's what we need to help heal up the gut, to help fight against cancer, to help empower the immune system so that it can do its job to eliminate those cancer cells and help us live, longer and healthier, just by cleaning up our diet that way. And then obviously there's lifestyle things I don't think we have time to get into. I could share a resource where people can learn more about other things you can do that'll help fight against cancer. But, I think diet is a big place that people can start.
Well, you've been a wealth of knowledge on this interview. You've gone from the connection to, I mean, just that last piece, the top 5 things that you can do to remove from your lifestyle, your diet, that some people can go home tonight and actually implement, removing processed meats, removing dairy, getting rid of sugar. I mean, these are concepts that need more reinforcement into the ether, to every person on the planet could hear these things and start making those changes as they all should be changed out. And for, like you said, there's resources that you have. How do people get their hands on those resources to get more information about all this research that you've done?
Yeah, thanks for that. I would say the next best step would be if people want my book. It's a best-selling Amazon book, Becoming Cancer Free. It's basically a decade of research put into a small kind of masterclass of a book. Really goes into a lot of what we covered here, but even a lot more different lifestyle things, different things we can do to help empower our mind and emotions and environment. The chemicals look out for in your products that you put on your body. It covers a lot to really help people who want to prevent cancer or help their bodies fight against cancer naturally. They can actually download it for free at becomingcancerfree.com. And I just give away the ebook absolutely free. It's like $10 or something on Amazon, but I'm like, look, I just want people to get this information. So they can download it for free at becomingcancerfree.com. And then if you actually want to learn from other cancer conquerors, as I call them, and learn from many of the top integrative and natural oncologists and naturopathic doctors that we work with, you can actually ask them your questions and learn from them at Healing Life. And that's, people can set up a free trial there at healinglife.net.
2 amazing resources. I'm sure a lot of people will take advantage of. So if you're listening, he's got a free book. Go to his website, get that free book, read it, learn it, because we're all going to either deal with the things that cause cancer or we're going to deal with cancer. That's really the choices that it seems like it's coming down to in today's society. So thank you so much for all this information. And thank you so much for just giving your time.
Yeah, my pleasure. Thanks for having me.